Hey, it's Alvin Jones from Planet Vehicle. We're in beautiful downtown Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. You know, President Obama during his State of the Union said he wanted more electric cars. Well, guess what? Electric cars have come to the nation's capital. Guess what? It's the new showroom for Tesla Motors. It's opening up today. We're going to take a look at it and see some nice electric cars. Ricardo.
Hey, Alvin.
How are you, sir?
Great. How are you doing?
Good to see you again.
Thanks
How
for
you
coming.
been?
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ricardo Reyes. He is the Vice President of Communications for Tesla, and you've been busy lately, haven't you?
We are opening up our store here in D.C.
Right here in the nation's capital. Now, were you watching the State of the Union when the President said he wanted 1 million electric vehicles out?
My jaw just about dropped to the floor. But
wow.
Yeah,
so how long is it going to take y'all to make 1 million vehicles?
We're going to work as fast as we can to make it true.
Well, let's talk about Tesla. You guys formed in 2003.
Right.
And I think it was 2008 when you finally brought out the cars after 5 years of research. And that's
right.
pretty good,
Yeah.
getting something from a concept to in the showroom and sold in about 5 years. How were you guys able to pull that off?
Well, especially when people said we could never do it, and it would never happen, right?
Exactly.
Look, we started off very basically out of Silicon Valley with the best electrical engineers and software engineers in the world. We took them from the best Silicon Valley companies in the world and said, we need to design an electric powertrain. And not just an electric powertrain where people are going to have to sacrifice for it, but an electric powertrain built around a car that people would actually desire and want. Then you take the best automotive engineers in the world, the best production engineers, bring them all together and build it always around the electric powertrain.
Right.
And then you take the unique advantages of an electric powertrain and then build a car around that.
Wow. But you know, that sounds almost like doing We Are the World, where you bring all of these great folks together and put something together.
It feels like it sometimes.
How did you get all of those minds and all of that energy together and make it work? Because a lot of times things become very disastrous when you try to get all of these different folks together.
We all come together with a single focus, and it's this belief that we can get people to drive electric vehicles if we make those vehicles attractive enough for them. The way people used to view, environmentally friendly cars, let's call them, was kind of a sacrificial vehicle. So you had to sacrifice style, or you had to sacrifice handling, or you had to sacrifice something in order to get that car. Everyone there, even though we come from all over the place, is singularly focused on getting people into electric vehicles. And since we're a small company and a startup, it's kind of this us versus the world mentality that we've taken on. Like, can we take on the big established automakers of the world?
Right.
And can we maybe do something a little bit different and maybe even a little bit better than they do? And then we thought we could. And it was just a matter of producing.
Only in America, folks. That's the whole thing that America's about. Because if you really understand the way it works, it's the small businesses that really feed the families because they employ more people, but also they're the people who have the innovation, because in most cases, small companies come out, people say it can't be done, it gets done, and then the big companies go, why aren't we doing this? Well, you can't do it because you said it couldn't be done.
Right. That's the idea was, look, we don't by any means think that we're going to be the only car company producing electric cars. We don't want to be.
Right.
I mean, the idea is to show that if we could do it, other people could do it.
Exactly. You're leading by example, right?
And to act as a catalyst. So if we can do it, and then the big car companies look back and say, look, if those little guys out in California can do it, then we can do it too. Because the end goal isn't to sell as many cars as possible. The end goal is to get people driving electric vehicles, as the president said.
As many as possible, maybe 1 million.
maybe more.
Right. See, not as many. No, the goal is not to sell as many cars as possible. It's sell more than the president wants us to. I caught that. Now, you're in Washington, D.C., and of course, I'm sure there are going to be members of Congress and judges and senators coming through and people working in administration.
Yeah.
What does this showroom offer them in the way of being able to see what their rules and regulations provide?
Well, it's not only what the policymakers are going to see. It's the same. They're going to see the same thing everyone else that walks by here sees, and that is that electric cars are reality. They're not in somebody's laboratory. They're not being built. They're not kit cars. We have thousands of these cars on the road. We have over 9 million electric miles that have already been driven since we started producing these cars. These cars are real. You can come in, you can see the cars, you can sit in the cars, you can see the cars being worked on behind me.
Right.
And so it's really this way of showing through your presence here that these cars aren't tomorrow's cars. These cars are here today.
Yeah.
And we want not just policymakers, but consumers to come along, see them, learn about them. Because ours is also our responsibility isn't just to build the cars, it's to educate folks about the benefits of electric vehicles. And this store allows us to do this. Anyone can come in off the street, have a conversation, ask us if we're for real. The no questions is off bounds for us. Ask us anything you want to ask us, and we're here to answer.
You know, I just
be you a
thought about
policymaker or be it somebody off the street.
You know, I just thought about it. One of the things in Washington, D.C. that's so great is that you have these fabulous monuments that you can go to, Smithsonian, Air and Space Museum, the Capitol, Lincoln Memorial, and now you can come in and see the Tesla showroom because, I'm looking at cars coming up, people are taking test drives, there's a lot of energy. Somebody I hadn't seen in years saw me standing in here, came in and said hello. So I can see this is one of the places you have to check off on the map when you're coming to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean, if we become a tourist destination, great. I mean, we're next door to the Smithsonian Institute. That's great. I mean, look, this is today's technology. That's what we're trying to show everybody. It's for the tourist. It's also for the orthodontist. It's also for the guy who works in Maryland, who's a physician or a lawyer or whoever wants to come
And the
in.
television host.
Of course.
Let's talk about some of the features of the car, because a lot of times people think you have to sacrifice fun and excitement. So let's tell some of the folks that what they will experience when they're inside the Tesla, especially the Roadster you have here.
So this is all-electric powertrain, and the best way to think about how this car goes is to think about how when you flip a switch in your bedroom, the light doesn't rev up and come on. Light comes on almost as soon as you're done flicking that switch, the light's coming on. That's how the acceleration is on this car. You put your foot down, it goes.
Instant torque.
I can go 0 to 60 in this car in 3.7 seconds. You can go 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. My grandma can go 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds because you put your foot down and the car responds.
How much torque is it you have on here?
I'll have to check on that, actually.
Okay.
I'll have to get back on you.
That's okay, because you know what? We're going to flash it right here. And guess what? The tally is in, and this is how much torque the engine puts out.
Yeah,
See how instant things are? We can just find it like that.
I love video. But so if you think about your normal internal combustion engine, you hit the accelerator, gas is fed. Gas is then fed into the engine.
Right.
It's ignited in order to create compression. It creates compression, gets ignited, makes the pistons go. This car doesn't do any of that. This
just
car,
goes.
you push the accelerator. It's like the on button. It starts to the motor starts to turn and you go. 0 to 63.7 seconds, comparable to a lot of motorcycles, frankly, and a lot of super high-end, say Ferraris or Lamborghinis.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about American ingenuity in an automobile that competes with the best cars in the world.
Let's talk about the range of the car.
So the range is 245 miles, according to the EPA. We built a car that was purpose-built for a daily commuter.
Gotcha.
The average commute for somebody, according to the EPA, is about 40 miles. So we wanted something that was going to get people where they needed to go and back pretty safely, come home, plug in at night, you top off while you sleep, you wake up to the equivalent of a full tank of gas.
There you go. Now, what's the voltage that you charge at, and what's the
anywhere you can
charge time?
plug your cell phone, anywhere you can plug your hair dryer, anywhere you can plug a toaster oven.
110.
110, 220.
Yeah.
We have made the car so that you can plug it into anything. So 110 or 220, and you can go up into higher and quicker chargers as well.
Gotcha.
But the idea is convenience for the consumer. You don't have to go out and install a special unit or anything. There's a lot of talk about the need for infrastructure. We believe the infrastructure already exists. As the market demand grows, the price will come down, but the infrastructure is already there. It's all around us. If you turn on the lights, if you can plug anything in, you're there.
All right. So now, do I get a chance to test drive this thing?
Yeah, of course.
All right. We're going to take a test drive. We'll be right back.